SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central with SAP Time and Attendance Management is a complete integrated global workforce management solution. The solution combines Employee Central Core HR with expanded time and attendance functionality, including time tracking, time review and approval, complex pay and time off calculations, scheduling, and absence and leave management. The solution delivers insights into labor costs, productivity, and regulatory compliance to support strategic management of your workforce, including salaried, hourly, and contingent workers. Self-service features increase employee engagement and reduces HR service center and payroll efforts. The solution can be tailored to your business needs using flexible configuration without the expense and effort of creating and maintaining custom code. A single global system supports the business and regulatory requirements of all your different employees, groups, and business units and countries. During the next 45 minutes, I will highlight a few of the key features and explain how they can streamline your time management processes and support decisions with a complete view of your organization's time and labor data. In the demo that follows, we'll show you general system capabilities as a day in the life of an employee and the day in the life of a manager. Then we'll show you some country-specific examples to show you how the system can be adapted to support local requirements and your organization's business rules. We are going to start today's demonstration by logging into Employee Central as an hourly employee, Faith Marshall. You will land on the Employee Central home screen, and on this home screen, it will contain a tile called Web Clock. Using the Web Clock tile, the employee can easily clock in and out for the day or in and out for meals. In this example, the employee can also track time against department and activities. The user can select from a dynamic pick list that shows only the relevant choices for that employee. The Web Clock can be configured to show any labor breakout fields or none at all. Department and activity are just a few examples. You could also use cost center, job, work order as more examples. The Web Clock can also be configured very simply with just an in and out button. In addition to the Web Clock, you can allow employees to capture time at dedicated data collection terminals. These devices are available separately and can be deployed with optional badge readers and/or biometric validation capability. Let us now navigate to the Time and Attendance home screen. We're going to do that by coming up and selecting the home and selecting the drop-down list Time and Attendance. For those employees that have the Web Clock is going to be displayed. Employees who do not use a Web Clock will be taken directly to the Time and Attendance home screen. In this case, however, we're going to click the link Time and Attendance on the Web Clock to get to the Time and Attendance homepage. This is the Time and Attendance home screen for your employees, which empowers your employees to view their timesheet and schedule, optionally enter or edit time on their timesheet, view validations and alerts, request time off and view available leave balances, view and schedule reports. Everything in self-service is subject to configurable role-based security. You decide who can do what in the system. On this screen, you can also see that we have the Leave Balances tab. Each group of employees can be set up to see only the leave types appropriate to them. In this case, you can see this employee has annual leave and sick leave. Below, you can see the time off requests. The employees view their status of their existing time off requests, including which are in the pending status and which have been approved. Employees can select a request and drill down to see additional detail. You can see here that Faith Marshall has a pending time off request for 2/26. Let's take a look at the Faith Marshall's timesheet. On this timesheet, the employee can view his or her work time or their time off. In this example, you can see the work time with start and stop times for each day, along with 8 hours of sick time on Thursday. Total hours along with everything else are calculated in real time whenever the timesheet is changed and saved. This timesheet is for a monthly period, as you can see with the bar going across the top. The system also supports weekly, bi-weekly, and semi-monthly timesheet periods. The timesheet can be set up to capture data differently for different kinds of employees, business units, or countries. Variations include timesheet periods, how work time and time off are represented, labor categories, and codes. For example, work time can be tracked in different ways, such as including midday breaks or by recording the total number of hours worked without tracking start and stop times. The work time can be captured from a web clock, a physical clock, or if allowed, it can be directly entered onto the employee timesheet. In this example, work time is tracked by department activity, with the possibility of breaking up the day to show work in different departments and activities during the day. Department and activities are only examples. The timesheet can be set up to track any combination of labor breakout fields or none at all. In some cases, normal work time is not tracked, and the timesheet is only used to record time off or exceptional work patterns. Time off can be tracked in hours and/or days. Holidays can be automatically displayed on the timesheet according to the local calendar and business rules. The system can be set up to show each user only what they need to see, and to selectively allow or prohibit the entering or changing of data. All of these variations can be configured in the system without any custom coding. As data is entered or modified, the system validates it in real time and displays appropriate notifications to the users. In this example, you can see that the employee is late on Friday. Hovering over the yellow notification push pin, I can see that it is telling me the employee is late. The employee clocked in at 8:07. And we can see also that on Monday, when the employee clocked in at 8:02, we are not showing a late tardy button. Note also the system is rounding times when calculating the total number of hours. For example, on Friday, the 8:07 start time is treated as 8 o'clock. This is a configurable setting which can be turned off or set differently for different types of employees, business units, and/or locations. Using the date picker up in the top left, the employee can view timesheets for prior or future periods and even make corrections to prior periods subject to approval. All of these capabilities are based on role-based security. You decide who can do what. The user can select tabs with additional information at the bottom of the screen. On the Messages tab, you can see situations that the system has flagged for review or correction. These real-time validation messages and notifications are linked to the color-coded indicators shown on the timesheet above. If desired, important notifications can be set up to automatically trigger emails or SMS messages. Managers and administrators can also see and review these notifications for all of their employees in standard reports and manager screens, allowing them to easily identify and resolve problems in real time. Many standard notifications are included in the system. However, the notifications are fully configurable and can vary for different employee types, business units, and locations. You can determine the specific conditions that trigger a notification, the notification message, the intended audience, and the mechanism of delivery. Notifications can be set up to flag almost any condition you can define based on available data. The next tab is the Schedule tab. Here the employee can see their schedule, which can be based on a recurring template pattern assigned to the employee or manually maintained for specific dates by the manager. Optionally, our advanced scheduler is also able to generate schedules automatically based on staffing requirements, employee skills, and qualifications and rules. Schedules in the system are optional. They can be maintained for employees and managers to view, or they can be used as a reference for attendance and pay rules that are based on known schedule. For example, to determine if an employee is late or absent, or is eligible for a shift premium, they can also be used to project future. For example, if an employee is expected to work overtime based on hours already worked, plus the scheduled hours. The next tab is what we call our Leave Balances tab. By selecting leave balances, the employee can see their available time off balances for different types of leave. For each leave bank, the employee sees the available time along with a summary and any activity in the current period. The employee can click the Show Details tab, and they can see the details that's happening on that bank. In this example, you can see that the sick bank started out with 16 hours at the beginning of the period. The employee accrued 4 hours on Monday and used 8 hours on Thursday, leaving a final balance of 12 hours. The system supports powerful and flexible automation of time off accrual and usage rules. For example, creating and maintaining multiple leave plans, defining accrual rates based on job, service lengths, contracts, or user-defined formulas, defining maximum and minimum balances and rules for end-of-year carryovers. Banks can be used for other purposes, such as automatically tracking attendance points for attendance incidents like being late, unexcused absences, and no-shows. All bank balances are calculated in real time as data is changed. The next tab is our Results tab. The Results tab displays the calculated results of your company's policies. This is the data that will be sent to payroll at the end of the period. In this example, you can see the employee will receive 32 hours of regular pay, 0.75 hours of overtime, and 8 hours of sick pay. In this example, sick hours counts towards overtime. But this choice, like virtually all calculations, is a configurable option determined by the company's policies. In this example, time and attendance applies rates and calculations, gross pay, but that too is optional. Calculations can include overtime, shift premiums or differentials, call-in benefits, regulatory compliance calculations, home versus secondary departments and other labor categories, rates and gross pay, your business rules configured using the flexible rules engine. Whenever data on the timesheet is changed and saved, the results are updated in real time, allowing authorized users to view and report on up-to-date results throughout the period. The calculation rules are configurable and can vary among different employee groups, business units, and locations. Many of our customers make time and attendance responsible for applying rates and calculating gross pay. This allows them to leverage the powerful rules engine, view and export results with high detail, including mid-period and perform retroactive corrections. Other customers limit time and attendance to calculating the number of hours and pay by type, such as regular and overtime. Role-based security lets you decide exactly what data, if any, can be seen by payroll administrators, managers, employees, and other kind of users on the Results tab. Users can drill down to view additional data on the Results tab by clicking over here on this drop-down list. If I want to, I can select the work date and department and activity descriptions, and now I can see an expanded view, and if I so choose, I can sort to see the date, or I can sort on activity description or hours, so I can actually so they can choose the breakout data by date included the department. So we can choose the column headers to sort by work date, and the same can be done for any other column. Now that you've seen the essentials of the timesheet, let's take a look at the employee calendar. From the My Home screen, we're going to click the My Calendar link. You will find the employee calendar, and on the employee calendar, the employee can see their schedule along with any time off requests. In this example, you can see the employee has scheduled to work Monday through Friday for the entire month. On February 4th, you can see that the employee has time off. And then on February 26th, you can see that there's a pending time off that is requiring the manager still to approve this. What we're going to do next is we're actually going to request time off using this calendar. So I'm going to select the 18th, which is the day I want to start. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to end my request on February 23rd. I'm going to select the time off request button. We can see that the default pay code for the create time off request is annual leave. If there are any other kinds of leave this employee is available to use, they would choose from the drop-down list here and select that leave. We can see that the dates are defaulted from 2/18 to 2/23. There's a section here that the employee can make comments to the manager. There are sometimes a kind of leave that is required an attachment, so the employee can put an attachment up on this leave request if required. We can also see here on the graph below the information about the current time off request and any pending and approved time off in the future. I'm going to select the next button, which is going to take me to the detail request information. Here, the system has automatically populated the number of hours for each day based on our schedule. Notice that Saturday and Sunday have no hours. The graph on the bottom of the screen shows the projected future balance of our annual leave bank. You can see our current leave request in yellow, and you can see other time off requests in green. The system will also project any automatic business rules that would add or remove time from the bank in the future. The system validates the request against projected bank balances and your organization's business rules. In this example, you can see that our current request for February would cause us to run out of time during our planned time off in March. The notification messages describe the rules that would be violated. In this example, we are not allowing the employee to submit a request that would cause them to run out of time later in the year. All of these rules are configurable and can vary for different employee groups, business units, and locations. We can see here that we cannot choose the submit button. Let us fix this issue. We can see that we have 2 days that we are issue in the future. So I'm going to remove 2 days from my request, and I'm going to update my request. So now we can see that the system has validated our change request, including the projected balance. Now there are no more rule violations, and we can submit this time off request. If needed, we can attach a document to this request. After the employee submits the request, the manager will automatically receive an email notifying them of the new request, which they should review and positively or negatively reject. That is the end of the time off request. So now I'm going to go back to the home screen for the employee. And we have discussed all the information for the home screen for the employee. So I'm now going to log off, and we're now going to log back in as a manager. Next, let's take a look at how a manager can leverage time and attendance. I'm going to log in as Jeff Hill. And as the manager logs in, it's going to come to the Employee Central homepage. And on this homepage, you're going to see 2 tiles, time and attendance tiles. One shows a key performance indicator graph called KPI, and the other tile shows time and attendance notification messages called exceptions. The key performance indicator tile graph displays a key business metric to give manager and administrators real-time visibility to operational data in a snapshot view. A library of predefined KPIs is available, which you can deploy to your users. The user can select which KPI graph to show on the home screen. Additional KPIs can be viewed in time and attendance. You can see more detail by moving the mouse over the portions of the graph. You can see here the overtime worked gives you the hours for the overtime worked each day. The next tile is our exception messages tile. The manager's actionable notifications of issues that have been flagged by the system. These are the same notification messages we saw earlier on the employee's timesheet, except that here the manager has visibility to all of their employees. The manager can click on a message to drill down to the timesheet to review or correct this issue. Exception messages are color-coded for severity. Red is most severe. Hovering over a message shows more detailed information. We're going to navigate now to the time and attendance screen for the manager. To do this, we're going to select the home, and we're going to select time and attendance. This is now bringing the manager into the time and attendance home screen. Here on the time and attendance home screen for the manager can see actionable information such as KPI graphs, exception messages, and time off requests awaiting their approval. The manager can also navigate to key system functions such as viewing and approving timesheets, editing time for individuals and groups, and assigning schedules. Role-based security determines what kind of actions a manager can perform based on your business rules. As we take a look at our KPI tile here, we can see that this is the KPI tile we saw on the Employee Central home screen. If we would like to, we can actually choose from a list of defined KPIs by selecting this bidirectional link. Here's a list of all the predefined KPIs that the manager can choose from. Next, let's take a look at our exceptions tiles. As we can see here, they're the same messages that we saw on the Employee Central home screen. What we would like to do here is to show you a little bit more functionality. If I would like to only see the red push pins, I can actually select the checkboxes and remove those pins, so now I can only see the red messages that I need to deal with. Also, if I would like to, if I see a message here missing in and out time, I can select this missing in and out time, and it'll actually bring up the timesheet and show me exactly where on this timesheet that I have that missing error. I can correct this, save and close, and that message now would go away. I can also, by choosing the filter, the settings button, the round settings button up here, I can choose to filter what exception messages will actually show up on here. So if I do not want to see any messages that an employee is late, I can go to my settings, uncheck the employee is late message, and that message will no longer come up for the manager to view. The last tile on the manager home screen is the time off request tile. We can see Faith Marshall has an unapproved time off request for 2/26. We're going to take a look at Faith Marshall's time off request and review the data. So I'm going to select Faith Marshall's time off request, and it's now going to bring up screens very similar to what we saw when Faith Marshall requested time off. We can see the actual time that was requested for 2/26. We can see that it was annual leave. We see 8 hours have been requested. We can see the pending time off here, and we can see any future time off here as well. We can see the history of when that was selected. Now, however, when we do take a look at time off requests, one of the major things that we want to do is we want to be able to view time off for all of our employees in our group. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to view our group calendar, and it's going to bring up a calendar. Now this calendar is going to show all of the employees in my group and with pending and or approved time off. And we can see here, this is where Faith Marshall's pending time off is. There's another pending time off for Vic Stokes. And then on this week here, we can see that all the approved time off that has occurred. So what's going to happen is this gives me as a manager instant feedback of whether or not I want to approve Faith's time off based on whether or not there's coverage for my group at that time. At this time, I take a look at all the information. I see that I have coverage, so I would then go in and approve Faith's time off. That is all that is needed to approve a time off. So now I'm going to go back to the home screen to show more functionality. The next function we're going to take a look at for a manager is Edit Time for Groups. So I'm going to select the link Edit Time for Groups, and I'm going to select my employees, Hill's employees. And here on the group time screen, we can review the daily activity for all of our employees. We see the worked time and various times of absences. We can see a day in progress, which is Friday, who has clocked in, when, and who has not. The system flags any issues that require our attention with red and yellow. These are the same notifications that we saw earlier on individual timesheets. As we can see here, Drummond is on annual leave all week. And we can see here worked time and then annual leave, and then also Faith Marshall was sick on Thursday. The manager can easily select any combination of cells to add or change time for multiple employees or multiple days in a single action. What we would like to do now is review the time on Thursday and take a look at these exception times. The manager can, let's drill down and review the color-coded issues. So I'm going to select Thursday. And once I select Thursday, I can see that all the cells for Thursday have been selected. And now I'm going to choose Edit Exceptions. As we can see now here, that brings up those two color-coded exceptions. Here we can see one employee has 12 hours on Thursday, which require our acknowledgement. We can check this box to acknowledge it. And we can see another employee forgot to clock out on Thursday. If permitted, we can enter the time out for the time. So if we have the capability and we choose to, we can change this. For the demonstration, we're not going to change any of these, but if we did change them, we would hit Save and Return, and then those messages would go away for the day. Also, what we can do here as a manager, we can add time for all the employees. So if I select Saturday, then I come over and say Add Group Entry Time, it now brings me up and I can actually add training time for all of these employees from 8 to 12 if I entered it in, and I'd hit Save and Return, and then that would go in and save all the time on Saturday from 8 to 12 o'clock. So this gives the manager the ability to go in, view any messages the employee has to work on, add time, modify employee's timesheet, and one easy-to-use edit time group screen. I'm going to go back to the home page now to look at another function. We've seen how quickly we can review, correct, and manage time for multiple employees using the Edit Time for Group screen. Now let's take a look at how to review and approve employees' time at the end of each period. To do this, we're going to select the Timesheet Approval link, and I'm going to select my employees, and I can see that I now have the approval screen open. On this approval screen, it's a summary of each employee's time for the period or week. And in this example, we can see their total hours, how many of those hours are regular, overtime or leave. We can also see which timesheets have been submitted by the employees, and which have exception issues flagged by the system, color-coded for severity. The specific columns can be set up to show whatever information is important for your managers, and can be set up differently across business units or locations. The manager can approve additional individual timesheets or all at once, if allowed. The system can be set up with a multi-level approval workflow, optionally including the employee, manager, and/or additional users at various levels. Approvers receive automatic email reminders including escalations and their deadline is approaching, or if they are late. From this screen, the manager can drill down to review an individual timesheet in detail and resolve any issues or errors. The system can be set up to allow or prohibit approval of a timesheet depending on the specific issues that may occur. Let's take a look at Vic Stokes because he has a red exception. So I'm going to click anywhere on Vic Stokes' line, and it's now going to pop open Vic Stokes' timesheet. Now I can see that on Thursday and Friday, Vic Stokes has missing out times. I can go in and supply those out times, save and close, and those at error message now will go away. Also on the timesheet, we can take a look at the approval history of the employees. I can see here a little scroll. If I click on the approval history, this is now giving me all the information I need to know of when the employee submitted it, if it was rejected, and then reapproved by the employee, and then finally when it was approved by me, the manager. And so when I, as a manager, approve it, the green checkbox appears, and now this employee is ready to be processed by payroll. Now let's take a look at some country-specific examples. Keep in mind that these are only examples. The system can support many other variations of local business practices, labor contracts, and your organization's specific business rules. All of these variations in the data for all employees in all countries will coexist in a single enterprise-wide system. We'll start with the US example by logging in as a US manager, Maya Cooper. We're going to navigate from Maya Cooper's home screen to the Time and Attendance home screen. When Maya lands on her home screen, you can see that there's a message here telling her that Brenda Davis' work time exceeded 12 hours in one day. I'm going to take a look at Brenda Davis's timesheet. When we land on Brenda Davis's timesheet, we can see that this is a weekly period, and the week is starting on Sunday. Also, we can see that the in and out times are for AM and PM. The rules that we have applied to Brenda Davis in this example are that there's going to be overtime over 40 hours in a week. There's going to be a message generated for when there's 12 hours worked in a day. That there's going to be a shift premium generated when an employee works past 11 o'clock at night. And that we're going to apply the FLSA rules. So if we take a look at our timesheet, we can see on Friday there's a push pin. And the push pin is telling us that the work time exceeded 12 hours, and it's asking for the manager to acknowledge this exception. We can also see on Friday that the employee worked between 11 and 11:30. I'm going to select the Results tab, and I'm going to show you that on Friday there's a shift premium for half an hour for 50 cents because the employee worked past 11 o'clock. Not only that, but the employee worked 45.5 hours this week, so that puts her in an overtime situation of over 40 hours, and we can see that on Friday we generated 5.5 hours of overtime. The system has generated an FLSA adjustment to make sure that we are complying with the FLSA regular rate requirement, that overtime be paid based on a blended weekly rate. In review, this is an example of U.S. rules of overtime over 40, a shift premium, and FLSA adjustment. In this example, we're going to look at Australian rules. I'm going to log in as Anastasia Millar. I'm going to go to Anastasia Time and Attendance home screen. From Anastasia home screen, I'm going to go look at Anastasia's employees, and I'm going to look for Terry Falk. When I bring up Terry Falk's timesheet, I can see that this is a bi-weekly timesheet. I can see that by the calendar days going across the top of the timesheet. If I want to, I can select the second week, and I can see the second week of data. Or if I choose, I can choose the checkbox, and I can see both weeks of data. We can see on this timesheet that the week is starting on Monday, and that the time is being reported in a 24-hour clock format. As we saw in the US, it was being reported in an AM and PM. We are going to be looking at the rules for Terry Falk, and what we're taking a look at here is that Terry worked on Saturday and Sunday. The rule that's being applied is that any time worked on Saturday and Sunday is going to be applied at double time. And we can see in the results here that on Saturday and Sunday, we're generating a pay code called OT at 2x for the 4 hours worked, and they're getting paid 40 Australian dollars. We can see on Friday they worked ordinary time at 20 Australian dollars. So in review for Australia, we looked at the timesheet, which is a period level bi-weekly period. We saw that the week started on Monday, and we're applying double time for any time that's worked on Saturday and Sunday. Next, I am showing a UK example. I am logging in as Sandra Gray. I'm going to go to the Time and Attendance home screen. On the exception tile, I can see that Lily has an exception. Required rest between shifts not met. I'm going to select this exception and it will open Lily's timesheet. I can see Lily is a monthly period person. I can see the week starts on Monday, and they are reporting in and out times on a 24-hour clock. I can see the message on Friday is red, and it says required rest between shifts not met, rest minimum of 11 hours, actual 9.5. I can validate this by looking at the timesheet and seeing that they left on Thursday at 20:30 and arrived Friday at 6. On Thursday, I see a yellow push pin that's telling me the work time exceeded 12 hours for the day, and the manager needs to acknowledge this exception. I can see they came in at 8 and they left at 20:30. The manager can come down here and see the exception and acknowledge it. We see a new tab called Work Pattern. This is the work pattern for the employee. In the United States, this was schedule. These are a few examples for the UK. Next, I'm going to show a German example. I'm going to log in as Vanessa Wagner, and I'm going to navigate to Vanessa's Time and Attendance home screen. I can see on the exception tile for Vanessa, Frederick has an exception that says work time exceeds 8 hours. I'm going to select Frederick's exception and navigate to his timesheet. I can see Frederick is a monthly employee. I can see his work week starts on Monday, and that he is capturing in and out times in a 24-hour clock. On Friday, I can look at the push pin, and it says work time exceeds 8 hours. We have a new tab for the German example called Monthly Earnings. In this tab, we can see the employee's monthly earnings in euros. This concludes our German example. You've seen several country-specific examples. Again, keep in mind that these are only examples. The system can support many other variations of local business practices, labor contracts, and your organization's specific business rules. All of these variations and all of the data for all countries will coexist in a single enterprise-wide system. You've now seen an overview of the capabilities of SAP Time and Attendance Management. SAP Time and Attendance Management enables you to track and approve employee time and activities, resolve issues in real time and in a decentralized fashion, comply with local regulations, and automatically apply your organization's absence and pay rules. The system provides a complete, detailed, and real-time view of employees' labor activities, giving you the insight to strategically manage workforce costs. This cloud-based solution, fully integrated with SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central and Employee Central Payroll, can be configured to meet your individual needs without the time and expense of custom code. The depth of the solution and expertise of our implementation teams allows our clients to consolidate their workforce practices worldwide in a single enterprise software instance. Thank you for your time. We hope this demo was informative. Please contact us if you'd like to learn more about how we can make your work easy.